What's been consistent in the 12 years, man, is change.
Yeah.
You know, and I think people get so caught up on one thing being the forever plan, like I did in mortgages.
Right.
And being willing to adapt to change. There's obviously enough smart people here that we see a lot of stuff coming. You know, and I think some people are afraid to adapt, and getting around situations like convention get you around people who think different.
Right.
You know, and I always made it a point to, I would go out of my way to talk to the people that were on stage, dude. It wasn't that deep.
All right, welcome to True Talk. Got my man John Wetmore with us today. How we doing, bro?
Amazing, bro.
Awesome, dude. Awesome, dude. Thanks for coming up.
Yeah, well, I miss coming up here.
I know, it's been a minute.
Yes.
Last time I saw you, I think, was annual convention.
Yep.
Which is funny because that's what we're talking about today.
Okay.
I figure we'll give them a little kind of breakdown of your background first and then hop into convention, why that's important. And, I mean, you've been to more conventions than most people that work with us.
I've been to all of them.
Been to all of
Officially.
them. Yep.
Yeah, I haven't missed one.
Nope. Your background, though, you were not in insurance sales.
I was not in any sales.
Any sales. Well, you did sell Christmas trees when you were a kid,
True.
right?
See,
How old were you
pay
when you were doing that?
Bro, I was like 8.
8. So you've been in sales since you were 8 years
a long
old.
time. I had a paper route. I did sell that.
Yeah.
I sold, yeah.
Someone said the other day, I was in sales at a paper route. Like, I don't know if that's sales.
I had to sign people up.
Okay.
I did.
Oh, you did? Yeah. All right. Because if you're just riding the bike throwing the paper,
I was
it's
in
not really...
the same place I was selling the
Okay.
trees.
Yeah.
In the same building.
So anyone who's not seen that podcast, real quick, talk to me about the Christmas trees. How'd that start?
So elementary school. So I grew up in the hood.
Yep.
Right, little projects area. So I grew up in this high-rise
Mass,
building.
right?
Yep. Right outside of Boston.
Okay.
Lynn, Mass.
Yep.
Lynn. I mean, you know Lynn.
Oh, yeah, we know Lynn.
People know it, and those that don't, Google it or something.
Yeah, or don't go there. Yeah, don't go there unless you absolutely have to.
So I grew up there, and we do where everyone's trying to hustle, dude.
Yeah.
A lot of single moms, welfare. You know what I
Yep.
mean? We're literally cash and welfare check is how we paid for everything. Stand
Yep.
in line for peanut butter and cheese and crap. And
You were raised by a single mom?
yeah, single
Yeah.
mom. Yep, she was 18 when she
Yep.
had me. 18th birthday, so senior year in high school, she had me.
Wow.
I had my first on the way at 16.
Okay. Oh, so you tried to one-up her.
Yeah, grandma was a single mom, teenage mom too. So it was like I was third generation single teenage.
Got it.
I wasn't the mom, obviously.
Obviously.
But teenage parents.
Okay.
You know. So anyway, grew up there, and elementary school, we had a project in school where you build Christmas trees.
Okay.
Right? It was a little art project or whatever class. And it's pretty common in that environment to try to hustle, to do all kinds of stuff. You know, you go to the guy, you knock on the door to buy the little slushies with the gumball.
Oh, yeah, we had
and
the little
bottle of
ices,
frozen.
yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
you do all that stuff, and you know, people sell the stuff they shouldn't sell. And
Correct.
there was plenty of that going on, and selling candy and CDs and tapes, all kinds of stuff, dude.
Yeah.
And we do this project at school, and I go home and I tell my mom, I'm like, yo, I want to go around and sell these things. And so literally, you make it. I tell every time I talk about this, I'm like, I haven't made one in.
Dude, we got next time you're here, we're gonna have a hanger, right?
Yeah, you've got 4 of the old school metal,
Yep.
like the hook hangers,
Yep.
the old school ones, and just take 4 of those and you weave them together the right way, tape them, and they make a shape of a tree.
Yeah.
You just buy a little garland, like a little 15-foot garland thing, wrap it around, a little mini set of lights, wrap it around, you plug it in.
Yeah.
And so we learned it at school, and I go home and I'm like, figure out that you can buy the stuff for like $3.
Right.
And steal mom's coat hangers. And I went around the hallway. So the way it was a 12-story building.
Okay.
And each floor, like I lived in apartment 904, and it probably went up to like 950 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like 40, 50 apartments on each floor. A bunch of elevators in the middle. So I just run up and down the hallways, banging on doors, like with Christmas trees in hand.
How much you selling for?
Like $15. And this was dude in mid-80s.
Yeah. So $3 to make, you sell them for 15, $12 profit.
Yeah.
You're running a business,
I
dude,
was.
8 years
We were
old.
I was doing okay. And so there's pictures of it still.
Yeah.
My mom's like black and white TV and stereo, like the record players in the
funny.
background. Yeah. So that was the earliest sales
Yeah.
officially.
Man, so you were born for sales, dude.
Man, I was born to hustle.
Yeah.
That's what I grew up around. That's what I figured out here is it was the same
Right.
for me.
Correct.
You know, it was just the kind of the hustle of it and go out and just make things happen.
But you didn't do much sales prior to insurance.
I never had a sales job.
No, you were an accountant?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went from restaurants to warehouse work. Then at mid-20s, I went to school. I took accounting and finance.
Yeah. How'd you end up there? Was that ever a goal of yours, or it was by accident?
Accounting?
Yeah.
So, dude, I worked in a warehouse loading trucks for 4 years.
Okay.
In my early 20s, like for restaurants.
Yeah.
So I'd pick stuff off the shelves, put it on a pallet, wrap it, throw it in the truck.
Okay.
And I worked night shift. So I worked like 6 p.m. to whatever, 3, 4, 5 a.m., whenever we were done.
Yeah.
And I would watch all the people there that had been there forever. And there's guys been there 15, 20 years, still on night shift. And most of their goals was to get on day shift.
Yeah.
Because on day shift, you work 7 to 3, and you just unload the truck, and you throw a pallet in the sky.
Okay.
You don't have to actually, like, handle one-on-one stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm picking individual orders for Applebee's and stuff like that.
Right.
So their job was a little easier, was during the day. And I'm like, that's it? That's
what you're striving for.
You know what I mean? Like 50 cents more an hour, and
right.
I unload trucks instead of load trucks. I'm like, nah, dude. So I decide, and I watched my mom go to school.
Yeah.
She didn't have a job till I was like 10.
Really?
Nah. So I watched her go to school to get her degree in computer. Obviously, you know her.
Yeah.
In computer programming. And so I decided I was going to go to school because I watched her do it, and it seemed like it made sense.
Okay.
So I walk into the school, same school she went to, North Shore Community College in Lynn. And I walk in, and I'm like standing, and there's this board of like colored flyers with all the majors.
Yeah.
But again, it's a little community college, dude. There's like 15 options.
Okay.
It's like, $40 a credit. It's no money for the school. So I walk in, I'm standing there, someone walks up to me, and they're like, can I help you? I'm like, yeah, I want to go to school. And she goes, all right, what do you want to do? What do you want to take? I'm like, I have no idea. And she goes, what are you good at? I said, I'm pretty good at math. She goes, pick accounting. I was like, okay, cool. So I signed. That was it. That was how much thought I put
not a lot
into
of thought.
I'm zero at
And how
all.
old were you? Your early 20s?
Yeah, I was like 20, probably 3 or 22 or something like that at the time, somewhere in that range.
Now, was college ever a goal, a thought, a discussion prior, like when you were in high school? Did your mom ever push it, or was that ever a thought of yours?
No. I mean, the only thing I remember from high school was like skipping it
a
lot. I didn't basically go to 9th grade.
Okay.
And somehow passed with like all D minuses.
Yeah. Oh, no kid left behind.
Yeah.
You were an early adapter.
Yeah, I was probably one of the first ones. And man, 10th grade, I was like, we finally moved out of Lynn.
Yeah.
And by 11th grade, dude, I had a girl pregnant. So
last thing on your mind was
I mean, I don't remember one conversation. I don't think she thought I was going to graduate high school.
Got it.
I mean, I skipped a lot. I didn't go. I was a pain in the ass to her.
Yeah.
She, you know what I mean? Like, the one thing I knew is when I turned 18, I was not going to be in the house.
Yeah.
Like, that was predetermined.
Okay.
I think it's not
Predetermined as that was
from
her
my
rule?
mom.
Yeah,
oh,
okay.
Yeah.
That's
she
old
was like,
school,
you got to go. And I certainly got kicked out before that.
Yeah.
And then went back. And yeah, I mean, it's part of it. So I don't remember college being on the radar.
Got it.
My dad wasn't really in my life, but he just a little bit. I mean, he was around some, but not much. And he didn't go to school. He was a machinist. So he went to a tech school in Lynn.
Gotcha.
I went to the tech school in Lynn when I was there. And, so I don't.
So your mom going to school kind of inspired you to at least give it a shot.
Yeah, I think, watching her get us out of the situation we were in, she always tried to keep me out of, the public school I wanted to go to. She sent me to, when she got a job, she sent me to like this little Catholic junior high. I graduated junior high with like 8 people because she didn't want me to go with my friends to school to keep me out of trouble.
Probably a good move.
Yeah, oh, dude. I would not be here if she let me do what I wanted. And then in high school, she sent me to the tech school.
Yeah.
Because she didn't want me to go.
What trade did you take when you were there?
So 9th grade is exploratory.
Yep.
So you kind of figure out what you want to do. And then I was going to do something like machine shop or something like that. But 10th grade, we moved out.
Okay.
We moved to Beverly.
Got it.
So moved to like what I considered quite the preppy little town for me. We just lived in the crappy part of Beverly, right over the line, right over Salem Bridge.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah. And then I just went to regular public school and met a girl, and 2 weeks later she was pregnant. And you know Shaylee.
Yes.
She's about to be 30 now.
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you, by accident, you end up in accounting school, or you get your degree.
Yeah, I get an associate's degree.
Yeah.
I go to school. I was working full-time at the warehouse, and then I would go to school full-time during the day.
Okay.
Bring Shaylee to daycare. TJ was born during that stage, so I'd bring him to wherever. And
so you got 2 kids, and you're working, and you're in school.
Going to school full-time, yeah. So I got my degree in 2 years, associates in 2 years in accounting.
Yeah.
And then I got my first accounting job. And then I started working for the government doing accounting.
Okay.
Working for the government pays no money.
No.
I made more money in the warehouse than I did.
Oh, shit.
Really?
Really?
Oh, yes. But like by far. I was making like
Wow.
29.
So what were you thinking at that time? Because like you're in the warehouse trying to get out. You end up going to school thinking, all right, this is the path. I'm going to make more money. And now you have a job with your degree and you're making less than
money.
you were before.
Yeah. I was pissed.
Yeah.
And I had to wear khakis.
You know, like
and a button up. You know that ain't my jam.
No.
You know, wearing button ups and polos and khakis, and I'm like, God, dude.
Like, I could be selling Christmas trees and make this.
Yeah. But I was like good at it. Because it was like Excel and numbers.
Did you enjoy it?
I was good at it.
Okay.
I did not enjoy it, man.
No.
I didn't. I enjoyed the skills I've learned from it in this career. Obviously, you know, I've done a lot of number stuff here, but
Sure.
I didn't enjoy the day to day. And same thing, I was kind of looking ahead. And again, the government, it has very like, here's your role. You know, you're this level 1, this level 2, list basic accountant 1, accountant 2, accountant 3. Yeah, and you make $29,130 here. You make $29,642. You know what I mean? And you know what you're going to make at each level.
It's going to be depressing the first time you look at it.
Because the very top of it, like you run the accounting department for the city, it was like $78,312. You know what I mean? And after like 30 years.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, again?
Yeah.
I didn't really look into much. Not that you can't make a bunch of money as an accountant.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I just didn't, that path wasn't for me.
Right.
I didn't take any kind, and I wasn't a CPA.
Yeah.
So I didn't go into that route and try to run a business or anything.
Got it. So where'd you go from there, from accounting?
So that's when I moved to Atlanta.
Yeah.
In that stage.
How'd you end up in Atlanta?
My first wife, her family got relocated here.
Ah, okay.
I say here, to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And we followed because I couldn't afford a house.
Okay.
So I was probably 27 at the time. And we were in New Hampshire at the time. And we lived with her parents. And to look at buying a trailer home in New Hampshire at the time, this was 2004.
Yeah.
I moved in 05, but 04 we were looking. Dude, it was $200,000 for a trailer.
Wow.
And taxes, $4, $5, $6 a year.
Right.
Back then, 20 years ago.
That's crazy.
So I'm like, dude, I take home like $412 a week.
Yeah, the math ain't math. And you were an accountant, so you weren't confused. So there's no way this is going to work.
Nah, dude, I was like laying carpet on the weekends with a buddy to make extra money. You know, I was doing crazy stuff just to make a few extra bucks. And we went to visit in Atlanta. And just for kicks, we went and looked at houses. And the house I ended up buying in a cul-de-sac, which I never lived in a single-family house my entire life.
Really?
I don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
I only lived in apartment complexes and multifamilies, and I never lived in a house. And so we moved down, like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, I don't know, 1,200 square feet or whatever, in a cul-de-sac, brand new build. It was $120,000, and taxes were $800 for the year.
Crazy.
I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
And I moved to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then I took the same job that I had in Manchester, New Hampshire, the same city accounting
government
job. Yep.
Yeah.
In Marietta, Georgia.
Okay.
And it paid less in Atlanta. So I got another decrease.
Man. So you're working more, you're getting degrees, you're moving up, and you just keep getting paid
and
less.
at this point, I had 2 degrees. Yeah.
Oh, now you got another degree and get paid less.
Because when I was doing the accounting in New Hampshire, I went to Southern New Hampshire, like in-person school at night. I did night school and got my finance my bachelor's in finance.
Oh, okay.
During that phase.
Wow.
And so I moved to Atlanta. And this kind of got me on the path. This led to insurance, funny enough. I met, my uncle was a cop in New Hampshire. And he did mortgages on the side.
Okay.
So he would sell mortgages. This was interest rates were 2-3%.
Yeah.
And when I moved, I'm complaining about money all the time. You know what I mean? It's my uncle. And he's like, dude, I'm telling you should do this mortgage thing. Money in it. And he's telling me he's making a few grand every time he closes a loan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And the Christmas tree thing. You know what I mean? That mindset's there. And I'm like, I'll try it. And this is before you didn't even need licensing then.
Okay.
It was before all the regulation of today.
Right.
You could just
The
roll
good old
out of bed
days.
and be a loan officer.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to try it. So I go to this little mortgage school. They give you a little fake certificate.
Did you still have the accountant job, or did you leave that?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I was on the accounting job in Marietta, and I started doing loans, and I would refinance my coworkers.
Okay.
And one of the coworkers, her brother was an investor. And I was like, dope. Well, now I found out later, everyone was an investor then because they were giving out loans with no proof of income, which caused the crash.
Correct.
So I started doing loans for this dude. I do 4 loans, 100% investor loans, no proof of income. You just tell me your income. I write it down. Did 4 loans. We closed in one day. You know, the dad left. I wanted to go to lunch, and I had to go to the bathroom, and my lunch was at 12 o'clock, and it was like 11:45. And I'm like, And I go, and I got in trouble.
You're in trouble for going to the bathroom?
For going to lunch 15 minutes early.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. She was like, lunch is at 12. We were looking for you. And I was like, I flipped her. I walked out that day.
Yeah.
And I started like a mortgage company, literally in my basement, dude.
Yeah.
Started doing mortgages, and I did that for like 2 years, about 2 years total. With the part, part of it was part-time, and then I did it full-time for a little under a year. Made decent money. It's the first time I made any money. Again, I use sales loosely because at the time, 2%, it wasn't complicated to get people loans. And especially in Georgia, the county I lived in was one of the top like 3 fastest growing counties in the country.
Yeah, it's around time everyone's moving to like Atlanta or surrounding areas.
So they were developing all the land.
Yeah.
I met a guy who did real estate. Everyone was a builder. Everyone was in real estate. So I met a guy, and it's like they just sent me loans. It was stupid easy.
Yeah.
And then I, being the ghetto dumbass I am, bought the nice house and the truck I couldn't afford with the rims and
So you splurged.
Oh, bro. I mean, I always joke. It's like you'd think I signed a record deal with Jay-Z.
Yeah,
the way I was
that's
spending
funny.
it. And
Now, did any part of you think like, yo, this could like end up real bad, or was it no? I'm making money, man. This thing, I'm gonna ride this.
I thought it was forever, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, $400,000 house, dude. It's like 3 more loans a month. Get it.
Yep.
Another new truck, just 2 more loans a month. Just get it. Just get 1 more loan, 2 more.
You
Everything.
sound like the new agents here.
Yeah.
I was writing another policy. Like, whoa, slow down, slow down.
That was me, dude. And bro, when it went away quick.
How
dude.
long were you living in that space of
9
like
months?
Not really.
Yeah, 9 months maybe. Yeah.
And at this point, you already had 2 kids, right?
Nah, dude. At this point, I had. Let's see. That was so. Gabby was born in 06.
Okay.
And Braden was born in 07.
Oh, so you had 4.
Yeah, depending on which part of the store, it was 3 to 4 right at that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And then obviously market crashed.
Market crash. Every bank closed. Like 200 banks closed in like 48 hours. I mean, it was gone.
Dude, it's so funny how like that point in time affected so many industries. Like you're telling this story, and I was on the construction side of it. I did not sign a record deal with Jay-Z. But I was like, dude, 20 years old, you know, I was just starting. We were building, we had all kinds of contracts. You know, they're putting condos everywhere, 32 home developments.
Yeah.
We had all this shit signed. We're like, dude, we're going to make some money over the next few years. Dude, we get going. We had this one project, 32 homes. Can you guys commit to 1 home a month? Gotcha, bro. Built the first one, second month. We're not ready yet. What the hell's going on? A couple months go by. We're going to put a stop on this. Dude, we had a few $1 million in contracts that all fell through like the same week. We're like, oh shit! Now we got to fire like half the set, like half the crew. Yeah, it was a mess. But it's so funny how all different industries.
Yeah, right after that, because that's when I got divorced.
Okay.
So I got divorced. I lost 2 houses because I bought the bigger house. I had the original house.
Yep.
So I got both houses taken away. The truck got taken away.
Wow.
Repo man showed up for sure, and I filed bankruptcy that year and divorced.
Damn.
All in that.
What was that? 09, 10, something like that?
08 during 08, and it was official all through 08 and 09.
Yeah.
Kind of leading into 09, all that happened.
Got it.
And
So it lost 2 homes, cars, got divorced, and filed bankruptcy. Holy shit, that's a fun year.
Yeah, it was a blast, dude. It was a blast.
Yeah. So you went from I'm on top of the world. This is never gonna end. What was your mindset like at that point? Like,
dude, I was crushed, bro.
Yeah.
I definitely was on Lexapro.
Yeah, I would say you had to have been depressed.
And I would wash it down with vodka, OJ.
Yeah.
That was
wow.
I was too friendly with that stuff.
Yeah. Hey, it happens.
Yeah, buddy.
How long did you live in that space?
A few years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I met Steph during that time. Crazy enough.
Really?
That's when I met her during that phase. Yeah.
Wow.
So funny enough, when I first met with Steph, like a month or 2 in, I was living in one of those like by the highway, you pay by the night.
Oh, a little motel, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So she brought me leftover Thanksgiving dinner from her mom's house.
Wow.
At that joint. Yeah.
How'd you meet her?
Online.
Really?
Not like that online, but online.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I was in the mortgage business, there was this local community website that I would advertise on.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah, I did it.
If y'all saw behind the scenes, there was this local community website that I advertised on to do loans.
Okay.
And she like consumed the website.
Oh.
Right. So she would just read the weather and what's going on in the county, just dumb stuff around town. And it's 07, which is when the iPhone came out.
Okay.
First iPhone.
Yep.
And so she posted, hey, I got the new iPhone. Her boss got it for her the first day it came out. And I wanted one. So I was like, hey, how's the iPhone? And we hit it off, dude.
Wow.
Yep. So we connected over the iPhone on some random like message board.
That's funny, dude. Yep. That is funny.
Yep.
So now that's where you were. That's kind of, you know, I guess the worst of it, right? Yep. Now, obviously, you've superseded what you've done in the past. Integrity Partner, one of the biggest, actually the biggest business here at FFL currently. I would assume you and Andrew. It's pretty close.
And Andrew toe to toe.
Yeah, I mean, you guys issued over $200 million last year. Yeah. You'll be over that again this year. You've been, you know, big personal producer as well. You've done it all here. Yeah. But how did you go from being in that dark space to even finding insurance?
Yeah. So when I was in the mortgage business, I hired Jeremy Waller.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Just off a Craigslist ad or something. And he came and worked for me there. I was in whatever, 07, 08.
Yeah.
And then 09, dude, I go and you couldn't find work, as you know.
Yep.
And I went and I eventually got a job at a warehouse, at a call center. And I remember going to get the job, dude. I had to park down the street in this parking lot, and they bust you in. Mm-hmm. So there was about 1,000 people standing in line looking for a call center job, $10 an hour. Yeah, suits, tie, every industry, dude.
Yeah.
Every person, human, full buttoned up suit and ties to dudes with warehouse backgrounds.
Right.
And so I stand in line. It's like a 5-hour thing to just go have an interview.
Did you think you had a shot when you saw all those people?
Dude, which I didn't know what was happening, but it was the only choice. It was like standing in line at Disney World for hours. Dude. It was nuts, bro. It was the craziest thing I've ever been through in my life. But I didn't have a choice because I couldn't find a job. I have child support due. I'm getting threatened to go to jail because I couldn't pay child support. I mean, it was nuts, bro.
Yeah.
So Steph's trying to help me find a job. So long story short, I end up getting a job at the call center. So I do that at night for a while. Eventually, after maybe like 6 months, I found another accounting job with a company that was in bankruptcy.
Oh, boy.
But they offered to pay me $40,000. So I'm like, dope, I'm in.
Right. Yeah.
So I worked for that company for 4 years. And one day, 4 years later, Jeremy hits me up on Facebook DM, dude.
Yeah.
And we hadn't talked to him since I left the mortgage because I felt bad. Like he was doing what, you know what I mean? Like we were doing okay, and then I had to shut it down.
Yeah, you feel you brought him in to this deal, and then it falls apart. Even though it's not your fault, you feel some responsibility. Yeah.
You know, so it affected everybody. So we hadn't talked in years, and he hits me up on DM, dude, and he was like, yo, I know you probably hate your job. What are you up to?
Yeah.
I found this thing. You'd be interested. And I call him, and he's like, insurance. And I'm like,
this is pre-FFL. It's the other company.
Yeah. This was 2012.
Okay.
Yeah. So mid 2012. DMs me, and I'm like, nah, dude. You
said no at first.
Nah, because I had, funny enough, I got my license because a dude that I worked with at the accounting job worked at that company prior as well. And I tried it. I dialed once, and I quit. I'm like, this thing, I ain't.
Wait, when was this?
This was 2010. I actually got my license in 2010.
Got it. So it wasn't Jeremy. Someone else tried to recruit
initially.
you.
Yep. Initially, someone else did. They brought.
You went and got it.
I got my license. I dialed leads one time, dude. I went in Steph's basement. This little dinky ass desk we had in the basement. I picked up leads. I called them. Like 4 of them told me to F off, and I was like, nah.
You're like, screw that.
I ain't doing this. Wasn't like mortgages, bro.
Right.
To me, you know what I mean? So I went back and just kept doing accounting for 2 more years.
Yeah.
And then Waller hit me up, and that's why I said no. I'm like, I already did. I ain't doing that. I already tried that.
And did you know it was the same company too?
No, I didn't know at the time. I connected all the dots after.
Yep. Like, damn, here we go again.
Yeah. I heard insurance, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I tried it. He's like, what? So I tell him, he's like, dude, I'm telling you, there's this dude, he's killing it, reminds me of you. He's from up north too, and he's talking about Sean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, I think you'll like him. And he goes, just come down to the bar and have a drink. So I'm like, I'm in.
Right. Yeah, why don't you just say that in the first place?
You should have led with that. So we go down, man, and he kind of mapped out how it worked.
Yeah.
And God love him. He wasn't doing, I mean, he never sold a lot.
Right.
You know, Jeremy. But
he didn't pretend to either.
No, he didn't. Yeah. So he wasn't going like, look how well I'm doing.
Right. And dude, that's a great point, like people watching. Think, I have to be doing so much. Dude, Jeremy wasn't doing anything yet.
He wasn't doing
nothing.
And
he's just like, hey, you want to try this?
Yep.
So you don't have to do shit.
Yep, correct.
Just share the opportunity. You never know.
Pointed to other people, dude.
Right.
He never tried to be the guy.
Yeah.
He was just like, hey, I'm in this thing. I think you'll do well at it. There's these people. And he literally pointed them out.
Yeah.
Talk about Mike. And
was your license still active? Or was
dude, so it had just expired.
Oh, damn.
Yep. So funny enough, in Georgia, maybe every state, I don't know, but mine specifically, it was right after expired. I got my license in March of 2010. This is like May or something.
Yeah.
I don't even know what month, but it was right after it expired. And so I reach out to the state, and I'm like, hey, what do you do? What can I do? Because I don't want to test again.
Right.
And they go, you can pay a fine,
Yep.
and we'll, whatever, reinstate it.
Yeah.
And so I paid a fine. They call it an administrative, $50, administrative fine in Georgia. So now, still to this day, bro, every time we add a contract, that question that says, have you ever been fined by the state?
You have to say
I
yes.
have to say yes because it's still on my record as a fine.
Hysterical.
So I had a $50 fine on my record for the last 12 years.
Right.
And but that's it, dude. He hit me up and he showed me, and he related it a lot to the mortgage industry for me.
Okay.
Where you can certainly sell similar.
Yeah.
Commission works very similar in the mortgage space. Like the dollar amount is very similar per deal. And that hiring a team and override thing is the exact same.
Yeah.
Works the same way in mortgages.
And you did that in mortgages already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like the company that gave me the certificate to get in mortgages, they would take half the sale.
Okay.
So 50-50. So they taught me stuff, but after a while I'm like, dude, I'm sending them half the money and they don't do anything anymore.
Right.
So the way I started my mortgage company was I called everyone that I went to the mortgage school with and I offered them 75%.
Okay.
And I kept 25 instead of 50. And that's how I
Smart.
started the company.
You had the FFL concept
Yes,
before it even
correct.
existed, dude.
100%, dude. So that's how I found Jeremy.
Yeah.
Someone was paying him less, I paid him more.
So you joined as we were kind of on our way out, because you say May of 12, right?
Yeah. So August of 2012, I sold my first policy.
Okay.
So literally 3 months, dude.
Dude, I think it was September maybe when I met Sean.
Yep.
We were running business, and we were like exchanging. He had an extra appointment, and we're just in the middle of the road up in Willimantic talking, and he's like, dude, I'm quitting. I was like, thank God.
Yeah.
Because I've been wanting to quit for a long time. I just don't know where to go or what to do, you know? So, yes, you came in as we were kind of on our tail end.
I found out in November
Yeah.
that it was happening, and I had just started in August.
Yeah.
So I was like 2 months.
Yeah, how were you doing? Were you selling it all? Making any money?
Part-time.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget, dude. They put me on stage for selling. I got a pin,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and I got brought on stage because I sold 2,500 in a month when I was new.
Right. Great.
I'll never forget it, dude.
You had no money, but you had a pin. And then we left. Did you join us right away? Yeah.
I did. You know, that's me too. Cause I was with Mike and them, and
Yeah.
they're like, "Hey, we're doing this." I'm like, "Okay,
Whatever. Yeah.
I'm in." I was with them. I didn't know anyone at the other company anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly see people at meetings and stuff, but I didn't know.
Dude, I always give you a lot of credit for kind of helping shape this Hall of Fame mentality. You know what I mean? Like early on, it was, dude, our first year, Mark Mead was number one producer at like 300,000.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, we didn't have a Hall of Fame.
I was 14.
Yeah. And then, you know, and I don't know how you all work. I mean, you're a numbers guy, so you're probably looking at it from, dude, I got this much time and make this much. If I were to just ramp up my numbers, I could hit X. Yeah. But you were one of the first, I don't remember who the exact was the first, but one of the first guys that start producing at that Hall of Fame type level.
I think I'm the first product of FFL's mindset. Because the guys that were doing it, obviously Andrew and some of the other guys, they were doing well prior to FFL.
Correct.
You know, so they were the leaders of the company, speaking on stages, training, teaching how to do it. And I was just sitting in the crowd trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, brand new. So I was number 4 in the company that year.
Yeah.
And it was all around guys who had already done it in 2015.
Yeah.
So that first year I was just figuring it out. And Mark led, there was no Hall of Fame. It didn't exist, but he didn't even hit it if it did exist.
Exactly.
So second year, first year convention, 2015.
Yep.
That's obviously Mark opened on all of them. But that's the year he opened up with leads and appointment speech. Leads and appointments. It's about leads and appointments. And I am a numbers guy, and like the book, I would go through this whole story.
Yeah.
In the thing. The short version is I heard him and I'm like, yeah, I hear you, dude, but what do you say on the phone? Right. Yeah, I hear you, dude, but what leads the perfect lead? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm trying to be analytical about it.
Yep.
And he's like, bro, I don't know how to make it any simpler. Like, if you're buying this many leads and running this many appointments, why don't you just buy this many leads and run this many appointments? Like, and dude, just one day it clicked, man.
Yeah.
I was looking at my numbers, and I was looking at I was running like, he asked me, he goes, how many appointments are you running a month? I said, my average is 42. And dude, Mark laughed in my face. With the Mark laugh. I wish y'all could play it over this.
We used to have the sound effect.
You should play it over this. Because people will like feel it.
Yes.
He laughed. And then when I asked him how many he was running at the time, it was like, he said, it was by text after convention because I wasn't smart enough to ask him there.
Right.
I texted him a few days later. I'm like, I've been thinking, how many do you run, bro, after laugh? And he says 90 plus. So I'm running 40. And I wrote like 160 that year.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm running 40. He's running 90. He wrote 300. I wrote 140. I ain't Mark, but basic math says if I run double, I'll make double.
Sure.
You know, so I started looking at how much I was making per appointment on average, just because the no's and the cancels and the chargebacks and the getting kicked out of houses and all that stuff used to frustrate me, dude.
Yeah.
I would get so annoyed. Hell, y'all would get complaints because I'd be getting kicked out of houses.
Yep.
And so I started looking at what do I make per appointment on average, and it was like $250. It didn't matter if I sold, just an average.
Right. Yeah,
So I
you're
look at all
taking in the ones you sell, the ones you don't.
And the deposits.
Yeah.
I just went appointments, deposits.
Right.
Because deposits take into account chargebacks.
Correct.
And cancels and all the stuff. It's already after. You get the deposit after all that crap.
Yes.
So I'm like, I just divided one by the other. I'm like, dude, I'm making $250 every time I book one on average.
Yep.
So I want to make 250. What if I just do 1,000 appointments, 250? And I just did math in my head, dude. And for me to do that, I had to book 30 appointments a week was my number. Like if I book 30, I'll sit with 20. I'll sell 8 to 10.
Prior to that, what was your goal for appointments to book?
I didn't have one.
You didn't have. You just
no,
whatever.
I would just get on the phone, and if it was a good day, it was a good day. If it was a bad day, it was a bad day.
Got it.
And I just would go home. And I was home a lot, and I was
It's so funny how like just taking control.
Yeah.
Like because if you don't have a goal, you don't have any control. It's just whatever happens, and you're going to be satisfied with whatever result because that was just how it was supposed to happen. Yep. But when you're intentional about it and take control and go, I'm going to have this amount of appointments regardless. And I imagine there's weeks where it was 30.
Yeah. So, but then I had a backup of 120 a month.
Okay.
So no matter what, I was hitting 120 a month.
That.
So if I hit 24 one week, because I got to hit 36 the next week to add, you know what I mean?
So you're trying to always get that 120.
Yep. 120 was the number.
But when you take control of it, dude, it's a lot easier, simpler.
And for today's work, that's in-home, driving to people's houses.
Yeah, right.
Sitting at home, the number's going to be different today.
Correct.
I mean, I'm like driving to 120 kitchen tables a month.
Yeah.
It's a different game.
The big thing, because we're about halfway to the annual convention, right? It's always it's a struggle for some age, the idea of like, I gotta go somewhere. And now there's a cost associated, big cost, $99, for 4 or 5 days of training.
Yeah.
But if you didn't go to that first event, and you didn't hear that speech from Mark, and then you reached out to him after, but if you didn't go to that event,
I quit.
You wouldn't be here right now.
I would have quit.
Yeah.
I 100% would have quit. I felt it coming.
Right.
I mean, hell, I tried to quit in January the prior year.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the lead thing. You know what I mean? With Sean wouldn't let me.
Right. Yeah, you call him like, we don't have leads. Like, yeah, we know, bro.
So I was definitely looking at it from a negative standpoint, so I had to make a change, dude. And the change was go back to what I know, which was crappy accounting or warehouse stuff.
Right.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
Warehouse, I know accounting. And I know what those pay.
Yeah.
Or it was change and duplicate what I see happening right in front of my face.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was so many people on stage, and I love all of them. And so literally came back from convention, did some really basic math, bro. It wasn't that deep. And I'm like, here's what my schedule's going to be. Here's how many appointments I'm going to run. And I went at it, and I didn't miss because then I started teaching it in a very simple way too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the bigger thing. You figured it out, and now you could teach other people to do the same thing. But if you didn't make that decision, and what's great, like you weren't in a great spot when you made that decision to go to the event.
Nope, I wasn't.
Why'd you go?
Hope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was given some level of belief that if you can do something, I can do it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And I saw enough people, and I'm like, they were talking about it a lot, promoting it. You know what I mean? You start hearing stories of people having success. Dude, there's got to be some reason they put this on. There's got to be some reason. There's a lot of, I don't need to be that deep about things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all these people are going. They're speaking. They're talking about, there must be something to it.
Yeah.
Let me just go see what it is.
You're just going to find out.
That's it, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I just believe, again, if everybody else believed in it that much, there had to be something there.
Right.
So I don't need to have, I just believed in others this whole time.
Yeah.
And
we're talking at a point when there was maybe 200 people. Like there were more people at the Spanish event.
Yes.
Which was like we've been doing that for 3 years now, or 2 really. Yeah. There were more people at the Spanish event last year than they were at our first annual convention.
No one at that first convention.
No.
It was tiny, dude.
Yeah, maybe 150 people.
Yeah. It was in that, and I mean, it was small, man. Yep. I mean, we've had our local events at that same hotel and put more people in.
That's funny. Yeah. And you've been doing them from like all different perspectives. When you're on top of the world, when you're not, when things are going well, when they weren't. Like wherever you're at, it's a great way to get a nice reset, get remotivated, and also the industry, especially now, it changes so much. I mean, you talked about virtual stuff. Like the way the industry moves, it moves a lot faster than it did 10 years ago.
For sure.
I mean, we went from a predominantly final expense organization to a mortgage, back and forth. We went from paper apps to e-apps, but now it's virtual, over the phone, IULs. Did I remember a year ago people would sit in that same seat and tell me you can't sell IULs over the phone?
Yeah, I remember.
And some of those same people right now are selling a shit ton of
IULs. Sell insurance period over the phone.
Yeah,
I remember those conversations.
We said that. Yep. Yep.
It's and it's this what's been consistent in the 12 years, man, is change.
Yeah.
And I think people get so caught up on one thing being the forever plan, like I did in mortgages.
Right.
And being willing to adapt to change. There's obviously enough smart people here that we see a lot of stuff coming. And I think some people are afraid to adapt, and getting around situations like convention get you around people who think different.
Right.
And I always made it a point I would go out of my way to talk to the people that were on stage, dude. It wasn't that deep. And what I found, dude, most people are afraid to do it, so they're usually sitting by themselves somewhere. So I remember the first time I met Andrew, he was sitting downstairs in the lobby at like one of those little bar. You get small plates.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have water, you can have drinks, you can have like whatever, snacks and stuff. He was sitting there by himself.
Yep.
So I walked up. I didn't know him. I walked up. I sat right next to him, and I just ordered 2. And I was just listening to him talking to another dude who was doing really well too. And I just slowly was like, oh, I'm here too. And just started having conversation with them. And, dude, they just started spilling their guts on what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Like, it was really easy.
That's the thing. There's no secrets. The guy's not going to, like if you go to the event, you come across John Wetmore and you ask him, dude, how'd you build your business so big? He's not going to be like, dude, don't ask me that.
Correct.
Like, that's my information. You're just going to share it.
Yeah.
You would think, though, like at these events, guys in your position, it would be bombarded, but you're right, they're not.
We get a decent amount, but it's not nowhere near what you think, and it's like, so my strategy was always to get there early. So I'm like, why don't I just do that? Show up early, see who's there, and then you see people roll in last second, or right before the doors close, and I'm like, you missed such a golden opportunity to win or get an advantage or get a tip you wouldn't have got otherwise. I mean, one conversation with Mark, dude, changed my entire life.
Yeah.
And there's been multiple. It wasn't just him.
Sure.
I've had multiple conversations. You start having different conversations with different people along the way, and I can go, I remember how I learned annuities. Ooh, I remember how I learned how to sell, a 72-year-old widow who had a big old mortgage. Right. I remember learning that at a convention.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like all the little tricks. I'm like, I learned them at these events from just being around it and asking questions, and certainly just the stuff you get is valuable.
Right.
But I wanted to take it to another level, dude, because I wanted to be one of them. Yeah. I wanted to be on stage, bro. I definitely wanted to be there.
Yep.
And so that was my goal. And I'm like, man, that 2015, dude, first convention, it changed everything for me.
Yeah.
And heck, that's when we used to do 2 a year.
Right.
So the next one, the summer one, I spoke at the next one.
Wow. Yeah. So you went to the first one in a bad spot, trying to figure it out. Yeah. You get some nuggets from Mark, put them to use, and 6 months later you're on stage.
Yes.
Yeah. It can happen that fast.
It's nuts, man.
And it's really, you just got to ask yourself, like, what are your goals? Because, like, it's convention for everyone. It's for everyone that really wants to make a run in this business. Yeah. If you're like, dude, I don't even know if this business is for me, I'm not going to sit here and beg you to go.
Stay home.
But if you really, like, if you're in that spot where things aren't going well and you really want to give this thing a run, there's no better place to go but one of these events.
Dude, I'd even say you get those people. I met a dude, I saw a dude at an event that as well. He's not with us anymore. Cool guy. He sells a couple $100,000 a year in flip-flops and a Hawaiian shirt every day at home.
Yep.
Makes a good living.
Yeah.
But I'm like, dude, you've done it so long, you've adjusted your lifestyle now.
Right.
And you've been at that same spot for as long as we have. He was at the old company with us. And a great dude. But I'm like, after a while, doesn't it suck to have to sell that much to sustain your lifestyle?
Yeah.
He's like, bro. And he goes, I don't mean to be a turd. I remember when you walked into this thing as the part-time accountant and see where you're at now, and I'm in the same spot today as when I met you 12 years ago. And he goes, I need help, man. I'm ready to change. I'm ready to grow. You know what I mean? So some people, they're really good at this.
Right.
But they're stuck.
Yep.
And if you don't feel stuck today, it's like, do you really want to do that, be in that spot 15 years from now, 20 years from now? Like, there's only so far you can go by yourself. And learning how to get to a new level is something you won't see sitting at home.
Right.
You won't figure that out sitting at home.
No.
So I think even the people that are doing fairly well, it's like, why don't you come and stretch yourself?
Right.
In a way you wouldn't see otherwise and see bigger vision.
You can't get there alone. Like, that's the thing. It's a very independent business in a lot of ways, right? Like, especially when we were out in the field. I mean, you're out there running for
literally
10 hours, by yourself. You feel very alone. Yeah. But you can't get to a position where you're at doing everything yourself. Not that you didn't do the work, but
Correct.
getting, around people that are ahead of you, that have done something that you're looking to do already. I mean, it's like, the Olympics are going on right now. You don't get to be an Olympic gymnast unless you're trained by other Olympic. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just Simone Biles didn't just wake up and like, dude, I'm amazing. I don't need any training. I'm just going to go and win all these gold medals. Yeah. You got to get around it. You got to get trained. You got to get to the people that have already done what you want to do. And what better place to get to or get that from than an event where everyone that's at that level comes in.
Dude, I even go to industry. I go to, which you know this.
Yeah.
You see my stuff. But I go to events outside of our industry.
Right.
To learn from other entrepreneurs and business people and stretch. I
bet those don't cost $99.
Bro. I've always got myself in a better situation. I can look back and what's cool, it's hard to see coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I've done it long enough now where I can connect the dots backwards and go, if I didn't make that decision there, I wouldn't have had these 3 moves happen.
Correct.
And that's, I think, so some people have to go on that blind faith.
Yep.
And don't just show up and sit in a corner and salt. Like, be intentional when you're there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Going with a plan, go to speak to people that are uncomfortable, people where you want to be, and ask questions and get guidance and interact with people and meet people and make connections. And,
yep.
You know what I mean? Like, you build relationships over the years. I mean,
Yep.
Mark and I are like, he's one of my best friends on the planet today.
Yeah.
We hang out, our families hang out together.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he comes to Atlanta to
awesome.
visit, I go to Jersey to visit, and we just hang out, and we can do life together now.
Yeah.
We're struggling or going through things. We can talk, and I wouldn't have had that.
Correct.
If I didn't take that first step.
Yeah.
It's,
absolutely.
It's been insane, dude.
Well, I appreciate everything you have done and continue to do for the company. You gave me this gift today, dude.
I did.
This book here, Do More Now, Get Better Later.
Yeah.
So you put this together. How long did it take you to write this?
Man, I spent over a year on it, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I can't wait to dig into it. Appreciate you gifting me a copy. Now, these are for sale?
They are.
Where can people buy them?
My website, johnwetmore.com.
There you go. That's
Sure.
easy.
Yeah. Click book.
Get
It's
book.
really easy.
Look at
There is
that.
actually a domorenowgetbetterlater.com.
Okay.
But my website just links to it.
Got it. Well, hey, check it out. You don't get a free copy like me. It's just
Only
like,
Sizer
yeah.
gets.
Of
Sizer
course,
and a
bro.
few others. Mark,
Yeah.
we got a few out
Yeah.
there. Got them.
Even this, like, dude, I love having you come do the content, but I'm like, I haven't seen you since convention, so it's cool to, spend some time with you. We like to end with some fun stuff, John. It has nothing to do with life insurance, so I'm going to throw some random questions at you. And
boy.
if anyone watches True Talk, yes, it's going to be the same questions. You a movie guy, music guy?
Man, I'm so bad.
Okay.
I'm one of those that like, I know that song.
Yeah.
And I know that guy. But if you play the song, I won't know who sings it.
Got it.
And if you name the guy, I won't be able to name the songs.
Okay.
So I'm terrible.
All right. Are you a
can
movie
go.
guy?
I fall asleep in them.
Okay. Do you have a favorite movie?
Favorite movie? I saw the new Minions movie a couple weeks ago. That was pretty good.
Okay.
I went
was it?
mathematics. Yeah.
Was it
Despicable. I think it's 4.
Yeah, I've never seen any of them.
Dude, they're so good.
Really? Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. John Wetmore's favorite movie as of today is Despicable Me 4. Now, you obviously consume a lot of content, books, right?
I do.
I've never asked anyone this. We usually do this in the shorts, but do you have a favorite book? Like if let's say your book collection was going to be destroyed, there was one you could save.
Yeah.
What would that be?
So one I refer to everybody that helped me the most on was, I'm a big John Maxwell fan.
Yeah.
I love Maxwell. His book, The 5 Levels of Leadership,
Yep.
the best book I've ever read for me.
That's a great one. Yeah.
It just, and I was telling your crew this earlier, it changed the perspective I have on leadership from that book gives you insight into how people view you as a leader, not how I view myself in a leadership role.
Right.
So I got stuck where I used to lead everybody the same way.
Yep.
I would teach things the same way. I would do, you know what I mean? It's like when you're with clients, though, you don't talk to the 72-year-old
Correct.
grandma the same way I would talk to you or me in a house. We'd
Right.
adapt. But it tends to be when you're leading a team, you're like a one-trick pony. I
Yep.
was. And I learned, man, that everybody views me differently, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to earn respect of people, and you have to kind of build up those levels and who you are. So I can be, again, we're in the same room, multiple people in this room. Y'all two view me different, and neither one's right or wrong.
Right.
It just is what it is.
Yep.
And that book taught me that, and it taught me, man, just how to get to know people and who they are and build trust with people and speak to them and learn how to coach people the right way. Dude, it just gave me an insight I thought we were all the same, dude.
Yeah.
I thought we all thought the same way. Thought we all learned the same way. And that book, dude, I recommend it to everybody.
Yeah.
I've read a lot of books, but
It's a great
by
one.
far my favorite.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, you just sold me on reading it again. I haven't read it in years.
Yeah.
But it's so true. I mean, anyone that, like, think about this industry, a lot of us didn't seek out to be some type of leader. It was like we wanted to sell, make some money, get out of our situation we were in, and next thing you know, you're hiring and leading people, and you're like, oh, shit.
Yes,
But
sir.
I think most people that fall into leadership that way do approach it like you're saying, where it's just one size fits all, right? Like, dude, there may be a guy that you can grab by the face mask, screams, and he's cool. Then there's another guy you do that to, and dude, he's quitting. Don't talk to me like, you know what I mean? It's so, dude, I love that. Great book. Last thing, convention. We talked about it, why you need to get there. January 29th through February 1st. There's 2 keynotes we've already locked down. We got Tim Grover, and this is one, it's like one, you'll definitely recognize the name. Tim Grover, you might not, but this is a guy who trained Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, and
I
him.
know Tim Grover, bro.
Yeah,
They're
you
missing
really
out.
should. Yeah.
I've got to meet him twice.
Did you?
Oh, he's a boss, bro.
He is, dude. He's a savage.
He is good.
And if you ever check out some of his podcasts where he talks about his upbringing, his story, and kind of shit he's gone through. But awesome guy. So we got him. We got E.T., hip-hop preacher Eric Thomas, who one of most motivating dudes I've ever seen on YouTube.
Dude,
like
early in my career, his mixtapes would get me through the day.
I bet.
If y'all don't know those, old school E.T. mixtapes, dude.
Yep.
It's where they overlay basically music to his speeches.
Yeah.
And bro, I would listen to those suckers. I met him too, actually, funny enough.
Really?
And I was like, dude, I thanked him for those.
Yeah.
I was like, those tapes got
Dude,
me
they
through.
get you hype, man. Like there's that one, if anyone knows him, they know this one where he talks about wanting success as bad as you want to breathe, like that whole. So great, dude. So he'll be there. Then we had a big one we're working on. I can't tell you his name yet. Well, let's just
definitely know him.
You'll definitely know him. He's a prime candidate. Let's just put it that way. And he's you being an Atlanta guy, you'd love him.
You would definitely love him.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get that announced real soon. But big dude. Then we got Dave Anderson back as always. Who? How do you not love Dave? I mean, Mr. Accountability in your face.
His books are great.
Dude,
Have you read Dave Anderson's books?
Oh my God.
It's Not Rocket Science.
Yep.
Dude, that book helped change my world.
Correct.
Early.
And if you're not offended easily, or maybe if you are, you should read this one.
It's true.
The original one, if you don't make waves, you'll drown.
That was a good one, too.
That is. We revisited that a couple of years ago. We're like, oh, shit, a lot of people need to hear this.
Yeah.
But great event. And then the bigger thing is, Sean always says this, the keynotes are great, but you're going to see John Wetmore. You're going to see Andrew. You're going to see these guys talk from stage and tell you what they did to get to where they're at. And now it's, over 10 years of building this business and, being successful and then not and everything in between. So, dude, I appreciate you doing this. I really do. Appreciate you coming up. Absolutely. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Hit subscribe button, like this, share this, check out John's book, get registered for convention, fflconvention.com, and hopefully we'll see you there in January/February. And you know where to find us every week right here on True Talk. We'll see you next week.